Welcome back to Red Hawk Media's Virtual Academy, and this is the 32nd episode of this since COVID-19, and it is our final episode for the school year. And I thank all of you for this difficult and challenging journey that we've had along the way here. This is not the ideal way to deliver instruction, but it has been the way. It's been interesting. I've actually learned a lot along the way, and we made it work. And for all of you though that are graduating, for all those seniors that I have in the many classes here, I wish you good luck. I will be seeing more of you because I'm involved with the virtual ceremony for graduation, so I'll be seeing many of you there, and I'll be able to touch base, and I look forward to that. And I just wish you the best of luck with everything. If I don't happen to touch base with you, always feel free to reach out to me. Always make a connection. Anytime you need anything like that, just let me know. Feel free. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a great school year. Despite all of this, I've still really enjoyed having all of you in class, and it's been a pleasure. And with that, we are going to wrap up this final episode here. I've got a few announcements. I'm going to switch over to Schoology. We have just a few projects that are left here that are lingering, and I want to make sure I cover the detail of those. And then I want to get into a few of the classes just to show a last little bit of instruction that'll help you wrap up those projects as well. So bear with me on our last episode here. I'm sorry. But let's take a look. I'm going to switch over here, and we're going to take a look at Schoology. And in Schoology, right now, the big things that are up and coming are for my Digital Media 2 classes. You have your final build for the game due this Sunday. Okay. After that, there's no new content that gets posted. As you know, May 21st, nothing new after that. Just time to catch up if you need it. I've already got several of these final builds turned in, which I will be showing you in a little bit, but that due date is out there, and it is coming quickly, so make sure that you are taking care of all the stuff that you need here. In addition to that, we have the radio show, which is for Digital Media 1, half-hour radio show. I've been answering a lot of questions related to that. I have a few wrap-up things that I'm going to show you today to make sure that everybody gets that turned in properly. But so far so good, because what I've heard from different people in that, it's going well. The little bit of radio show that I've been able to sample from a few people that have already turned this in, it's been good. And then finally, that brings us to the Wix e-commerce site, which is my web design class. That is this Sunday. Make sure you are taking some time to get that put together. I'm going to go over one reminder on that when we get to that particular class. I don't have any content for the other classes whatsoever for video production, for game design. There's no new content there, so I'm not going to be bringing up your screens at all. Yeah, you still have that time to the end of the year. If you have any projects whatsoever that you have not turned in yet, you still have that time to get those turned in. Okay, all the way up to the end of the year. Seniors especially, if you need the class to graduate, make sure that you're taking care of that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch back over to this, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples. This would be for Digital Media 2. Okay, and in Digital Media 2, of course, we're doing the final game build. And before I get into the last few details of that, I want to show you a couple examples. I've had a handful of these already turned in, and they look great. Okay, so this first one that I'm going to show you here, let's take a look at that. And this is Kellen's. And again, remember, during your final build, the goal is to show everything that is functional in your games. So you have to interact with your enemies to make sure that you're getting points for that. Collecting coins, taking damage. Make sure that you actually show your character dying as well, so that we can see that your health bar works, the health system works, the game over thing works, all of that stuff is in order. Okay? And then on top of that, you're playing through from the beginning to the end. And Kellen did a nice job of that here. He's into his second level here. collecting switches, collecting coins. Everything seems to be working really well throughout his game. And he did a really nice job of laying this out, and has everything in there that you would need to put this game together. So nice job, Kellen. I'm going to switch it over here. Here's another example of another game. This is Rachel. And Rachel did a nice job laying everything out, and she has some neat little features that she added onto her character. Her character has this crazy like super jump here, so there are times where we have to wait for the character to literally fall out of the sky, but it's really neat. In addition to that, the sound on it is pretty cool too. And that would be a good reminder. Make sure that you are turning up your sound on your laptop when you screen record so that you can capture the sound from your speakers so that we can hear that. All you have to do is just turn it up really loud when you screen record. Make sure that your built-in mic is turned on when you're screen recording, and then we'll get all of that audio, all of that background music that's going on there. And this is looking great. Okay, here's another example, and I really enjoyed this one. It's a lot of fun content here. Some throwback sound effects and that, and just really well done. And this is Madison's game here, and she's got her start menu. We've got our character. We've got switches. She's taking damage. Okay, and then she demonstrates that the character will actually die, and the try again pops up there, so all that works. And then she continues to play through this, and she's got a nice little double jump feature here that she can jump in midair, and that's pretty sweet. Collecting coins, all of that stuff works. Her enemies work as well. Yeah, and that is all looking really good. Okay, so she did a really nice job with all of this, putting that together. And each of the levels is unique. So remember, one of the big components for your final game build is your level design. So making sure that level 1 and level 2 are definitely different from each other, and that there's some different ideas. Now, you can obviously recycle your platforms, recycle your moving platforms, recycle your enemies, all of that kind of stuff. But try some new stuff, try a different layout for level 2, and make sure that you're getting creative with that so you get that overall quality points. Level 1 and level 2 points, and then the creativity as well is one of the categories that's in there. So if you look at the rubric, this pretty much covers all of it here, and Madison did a really nice job of all of that. Okay, I think she's got a win screen coming up here pretty quickly. And there we have it. Okay, so, and the windscreen's it doesn't have to be anything super elaborate, it can be pretty simple. Okay, I'm going to switch back over here, and I'm going to show you another game that I thought was really well done. We'll take a look at that. And here it is. And this is from Peyton. Okay, and Peyton's demonstrating that the character will die here, and that you can restart, go to the menu. All of those different features are there. Okay, and then you can try again, and then he gets into the gameplay, and of course he's got the Area 51 theme going on here, and it looks pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. It's just a really well done, laid out level. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of different features that are in here. He put a lot of time into this, and I would say this as well for those of you that are having any challenges with your game. I was literally on, like Monday through Friday, I would be talking to Peyton at different times, and we would be working through a lot of the details on this. So he just took the time and budgeted that so that we could meet on Google Meet and then walk through anything that he was having difficulty with. And you can see it turned out really well. It's neat. He's got some fun ideas that are in here. And the levels are huge. It had to take him a while to lay all this out. But you get the idea there. He's got a second level as well. He's going to collect all these coins here. And let's see if I can find that. He's coming back here. He's collecting all those coins, boss. Yeah, and yeah, right about here. And then his second level is just as well laid out. You can see he recycled a lot of the platforms and background and different features like that, but it looks really good. Just a nice simple layout with everything. It's all pretty smooth. I didn't see a whole lot of glitchy stuff in here. It looks great. So nice job, Peyton. These games, the ones that I showed you here, they are great. They are exactly what you should be doing with this whole project, and this is the way it should look when you turn it in. So if you're looking to get maximum points here, this is what you're looking at. So job well done to all of you here. I'm going to hop out of here, and the last thing that I promised to show with all of this is that we would be going through some of the details of how to actually make sure that you've got all your levels set up. So if I hop into Unity, the big thing that you're going to do is you need to show gameplay through all 4 of your levels, or all 4 of your scenes. Your start screen, level 1, level 2, and then your final win screen, whatever you want to call that. Okay, so probably the easiest way to do that is start on your actual menu here, and then from your menu, the big thing is make sure that in your build settings, I'm going to come up here, make sure that in your build settings, you have all 4 of the levels actually in here in the order that they're supposed to go in, so that you can go from one level to the next uninterrupted. It shouldn't be that you play through one level and then stop, and then play through another level and stop. They all should go fluidly from one to another. That's what gets you the game manager points, showing that those switches, doors, and all that scene load up works. Okay, so I've got all my scenes in here, and then from here, this is where I would start my screen recording, and then I would go ahead and start playing through this. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and maximize on play here when you're screen recording, just because you can see everything that's going on, everything that's supposed to show up at the screen does, and then when you hop in here, it just looks a whole lot better for the screen recording purposes. So now you can hop in, you can play through your level. Remember, show all the functionality of everything, so that we can actually see what's going on in your game. Okay, so play through your level, do all of that stuff, you know, show me all the different features that you've got added in there, any creative stuff that you've added as well. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, maybe I'm not. Okay, and yeah, just have fun playing through that all the way. And then don't forget, after you get through everything, get into that second level, and then show me what all is in there as well. Play through that, get to the win screen, and then you should be pretty much set. You're just turning in the video. I would double check your rubric, make sure that you cover all the details that are in there. It's pretty well laid out as to what you've got. And if you've got any of the extras, the sound, extra health, moving platforms, and there's something else that's in there. But if you have any of those extras that are listed on the rubric, that's extra points for you, and that's just an easy way to boost your grade here. And of course, this is a summative, so this is the big one for the end of the year. All right, so excuse me if I don't choke here. That should pretty much wrap it up for Digital Media 2, and that should take us on to the next class. So I'm going to hop out of here, and from Digital Media 2, we're going to switch it on over to web design. Okay, and in web design, the really big thing that I just want to give a reminder of is once you get into your Wix site, I showed this last time on the live stream. This would be on Tuesday's live stream. After you get into your site, don't forget to add me as a collaborator to that site. So when you get in here, okay, and your site is all loaded up and everything is all saved, don't forget to get in. Let's see here. Let's go to, let's go to site actions, and let's edit this site. And once I'm in here, let me put this up to full screen, sorry. And I am actually showing this, right? Yes, I just wanted to double check so we're not running through a bunch of stuff that's not actually here. So here's my site, and like I said last time, in your settings, you can go in here, and in those settings, you can go down to roles and permissions. Now, if you haven't yet gone through that list of rubric things, there are a lot of other things that are in here for that rubric. So make sure that you are adding in your business info, things like that for your, fictional business that you've got here. But it's got all of the details in here as well for those settings. And then the other thing that's worthwhile to do too is don't forget that we need a responsive site. That's one of the things. So you can always click on the actual mobile simulator here, and then you can scroll through and you can see what this would look like on a device and scroll through. Okay, and you can see this is very mobile friendly. We've got our mobile menu and all that stuff. And then lastly, obviously we're not publishing this, so when you do share it with me, I will go into the preview. And then once I get into the preview, you can see here's your site in the mobile format. I'm going to be able to go in and check out all the different things that are actually in here, which is pretty slick. Scroll through all of it. I'm going to add items to the cart. I'm going to test all of the functionality to your site. So make sure that you add all of that stuff in there as you go along here. Okay? And that should pretty much cover web design. If you've got any questions on that, make sure you shoot me an email. It's just a matter of turning that in on Schoology here and yeah, sharing that site so that I can collaborate on it and look at it to grade it. Okay, excellent. That should pretty much take us to the end of web design. Now, from web design, we no new information for game design or for video production. You guys have done the last of your projects already, which is bringing you to the end of the year. Anybody that hasn't turned anything in for either of those classes, it's still fair game. Deadlines are open, so make sure you get that in, especially seniors. If you need the class to graduate, make sure that you're getting stuff taken in. And remember, you have to have at least, what is it, a 60, 65%, something like that, to be able to qualify for quarter three's grade. So if you want to get quarter three's grade in the grade book for you, you have to get at least, I think it's a 65%, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but if you get over that, then I can give you quarter three's grade and assign that seniors. But some of you, you're not there yet. So make sure that you take care of business so that you're all good. All right, that takes us to Digital Media 1. I'll switch over. And Digital Media 1 has been working on their GarageBand project. And just a big thing for reminding you on all of this, a few people, a couple good questions here. So I want to make sure I take time to go through them. The first question is this. When we are recording our commercials, last time on Tuesday, I showed you a whole bunch of different ways that you can record your voice. Now for the commercials, it's exactly the same thing. You're going to record your voice. You're going to mix music in the background. If you want to get somebody at home to help you out with like a commercial idea, a lot of times there's more than one person that's in the commercial. That's perfect. All right, get them on, record. You have to, I forget if it's 3 to 5 commercials. I think it's 3 commercials that you have to have totally. They should be at least 30 seconds. That's the radio-friendly commercial here. And they should, I mean, they can advertise pretty much anything. Think about your radio station. Think about the content it plays. Think about the genre. What would normally show up on that kind of radio station? So if you're listening to a rock station, okay, they're not going to have loads of like ads on there about retirement and things like that. That might be more fitting for an oldies station, you know, where they're playing like 50s, 60s, 70s, or even classic rock. So give some thought to what kind of commercials you're putting onto your radio show here. The second question that I got was I put in all my songs, and it was more of a statement than anything. We'll do the statement first, then we'll get to the question. She said this: I put in all my songs, I put in all my commercials, I put in all my transitions and all my DJ drops, and I only had 26 minutes. What do I do for the last 4 minutes? Now remember, one of the things about radio is if you've got a half hour of radio time, it has to be a half hour of radio time, like exactly filled. So those transitions, those are where you take your liberties and you fill some time with your transitions. Don't forget, as a DJ doing a transition, it's not just about like, oh, well, that was that song and now we're playing this song. You can do traffic, you can do weather, you can do gossip like celebrity gossip. You could do local news, you could do upcoming events, bands, concerts, any of that kind of stuff you could talk about with your transitions. But the goal is you got 26 minutes. All right, well, that's 4 minutes that you have to fill of airtime. So obviously you don't want to fill that whole 4 minutes in one big chunk, although different stations have different, like, they they have different approaches to that. Sometimes like 105.9, they always talk about another rack of rock. Well, they put on like a chunk of songs or a block of songs, and then they have a whole block of advertising, DJ transitions, all that stuff, and then they put on another block of music. So depending on the time of day, those different strategies work better. Okay, so what you want to do here is you want to make sure that if you've only got 26 minutes and you think you've got all those things in, go back to your transitions and expand those a little bit. Even if you expand each transition like 30 seconds to a minute, you're now filling a considerable amount of time. And if you get to the end and you've got too much, that's the first place you would go back to cut. So you could take one of those transitions and trim it down to the stuff that you really want to have in there, and then make sure that you hit the 30-minute mark exactly. Which brings me to the last point. After you get all this stuff done, don't forget the value of grabbing this end marker. I'll show you this again. I've showed this a bunch of times. Make sure you grab this end marker and make sure you drag it exactly to that 30-minute mark that you need so that the radio show ends there. You may have dragged in a load of music and it may have pushed that end marker way out. And then we may export that radio show, and it's only actually a half hour of content, but then it plays on for another like 3-4 minutes with nothing. So grab that end marker, drag that in. Last thing, this is a larger export that you're doing here. So when you go to share, you're turning this in as an MP3. There's no video, it's just an MP3. You're going to go to share, and you're going to export this song to disk. Okay, so when I get into here, it's going to pop up my little window here, and I'm exporting it as an MP3 just like all of the other stuff that we've exported, and I'm only putting it at medium quality so that it keeps the file size down. And then big thing here, even though we're turning it into Schoology, I still think it's always a good idea to put your last name first and then make sure that you put radio show on there or whatever else you need to. Okay, so that you've got that all turned in. When you export this, because it's a half hour, it does take a little bit of time to mix it down and all of that stuff. And when you are done, just a reminder, most people have gotten pretty good at this, but I do want to give this reminder. Okay, let me close this and let me find one. This is roughly what your file should look like here. It should be a music note and it should say .mp3 at the end. That's what you're turning in. Now, if you happen to save this, I think I had one on here, a GarageBand looking file. If it looks like your GarageBand project for the thumbnail, it's not right. Okay, it's got to be an MP3, should have the music note, should be .mp3 at the end. Make sure that you get that turned in for your radio show project, and you should be completely set. Double check your rubric, you've got that, use it as a checklist, go back, okay, I've got my DJ drops, I've got my transitions, I've got the songs, the commercials, all of that stuff. And one last reminder, and this is for quality purposes, when you are doing your commercials, your transitions, your DJ drops, just a reminder, very rarely is it just talking. Very rarely. You may come up with a great script for your commercial and then read it all the way through, but if it doesn't have music behind it, playing at the same time as what you're talking, then it's not really a radio-friendly commercial. Okay, there are commercials without talking. They're usually PSAs. They're usually more serious in nature. They usually give some big updates and that. But when you do this for your DJ transitions, they've always got some kind of music that's playing in the background. And a lot of times it's just generic, like a generic beat that's going on, so that the singing itself doesn't interrupt what you're saying. So use your loops, drop those in the background, make sure that you're incorporating those so that it's not just dead, talking. Okay, so that's just a quality control thing. That should pretty much wrap up everything for the radio show. You guys should be in great shape for this. You've got all the way up until Sunday to get it turned in here. That's the due date for it. And don't forget, if you're in Digital Media 1 and there were a few projects that you got a little bit behind on, go back, make sure you get those done. Also, make sure that you're checking Schoology for like anything that I send you. The reason I say that is because There's a number of people that submitted things improperly, and then I'd message them back on Schoology saying, hey, you need to re-upload this because you didn't turn it in the right way, and then gave directions on how to turn it in properly. There's a lot of those people that need to go back and resubmit those projects. So if you're one of those people that got one of those messages, you're not getting any points until you actually resubmit the project the right way. I'm talking about like your movie trailers. There were a number of movie trailers that I got were MP3s. Well, it's a movie trailer. I should be able to see the movie, should be able to hear everything. The other question that I got in the movie trailers quite a bit was, well, I did all the music for the movie trailer. Why didn't I get all the points? Well, you were doing the whole soundtrack for it. You're not just doing the music, you're doing the sound effects, you're doing everything on that movie trailer. So you're recreating all of it, not just the music. So if you got a lower score on that and you're kind of wondering why, well, it's because you didn't follow the directions. So make sure that you're using those rubrics and referring back to them and referring back to the details of the assignments so that you get everything in there and get all those points. And that brings us to a close here. This is the final Red Hawk Media Virtual Academy for this year. Let's hope that we don't have to do this next year. It has been a pleasure working with all of you, and I look forward to talking to a number of you on Google Meet in the coming days here. Get your late assignments in, get all that stuff taken care of, make sure you get your grades in check, and if I don't see you, have a wonderful summer, and take care and be safe, and we'll see ya. Bye.